Welcome to the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the essence of culture, our experiences, and a healing journey that shapes our growth in family. Through heartfelt stories about marriage, mental health, relationships, and parenting, we create a space where you can find connection, understanding, and inspiration. Join us as we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the rhythms of life one story at a time. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach.
And Angie, la cyber mommy.
Cyber Mommy's in the building. We are post-Thanksgiving on our way to Christmas, actually.
It's almost Navidad.
It's almost Christmas. And look, we have 3 weeks left in the year. Mm-hmm. So before we even jump into today's topic, I want you to think about next year right now. Don't wait until January 1st to start
doing
them
steps now. Work to get there now.
Get your planning in. So if you're a vision board person, I'm going to be buying my vision board stuff next week.
Oh, nice.
So it would be the first time I actually did a vision board because I've got way too much that I'm trying to manifest.
We do a digital vision board. Like at work, we have a vision board party. Yeah, and mine's digital where it was for last year.
I got to have mine with the
you got to see it. I mean, you do have a lot of
like if you see things. Our office where this is like there's things all over my wall. Mm-hmm. So don't wait until it is time for you to already be in momentum to start gaining momentum. Mm-hmm. Think about your goals right now and start working towards them. That's all I want to say.
And December's just always so busy. My daughter has a birthday. Your son has a birthday. It's Christmas, end of the school year activities. There's spirit weeks. Everybody wants to dress the kids up as a freaking Grinch. They have to wear red. They have to wear green. They have to wear their pajamas. We're having hot chocolate at least twice a week with marshmallows. We're watching Christmas movies. We have the decorations.
Yeah.
But I did tell the girls, because they don't believe in Santa Claus. I never did Santa Claus with them. We don't do Elf on the Shelf. We don't do Glinda on the window. We don't do Snoop on the stoop. We don't do none of those things.
Wait, who's on the window?
From Wicked.
Oh, I never seen it.
Yeah. So we don't do none of that. They know that it's like all magical and some people believe, and that's okay. And we pretend with them if they believe. But I told them, I was like, look, we're going on this Disney cruise. You're getting something to read, something you need, and I forgot the other little
something to feed out.
Yeah, there's like 4 gifts, but it's like things that they need and something to read. So yeah, I told them you're getting like 1 toy, a book, and clothes because they're growing like weeds. These children.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, Lito's in potty training right now, and he's getting even further down. We are officially in dad season. Yeah. I thought my dude was a mama's boy, so I used to always say, man, that kid's a mama's boy anytime anybody asked me, because he was just obsessed with my wife, and I love that. I love my moms. You know, I'm a mama's boy. I'm not going to, Yeah. But right now we're in dad season because of the potty training. And for those of you young fathers out there, fathers-to-be, get ready if you're raising a young king, because once you start showing him how to go to the bathroom, he's gonna be looking up to you on a whole nother level, because he didn't know you and him have the same stuff.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
that's fair.
He knows that only you can teach him the way. He doesn't know anything else that he's expecting to learn from you as a man. This is his first workshop, so enjoy it. I love this season of dad season. My man is like obsessed with me. And I'm here for that. I love it.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I love it.
I know. Aria is potty trained officially. Like we buy the pull-ups for nighttime. But yeah, it's just that I'm so excited for you guys to get over that hump, because it's like a whole new world.
That hump is like, it is a big, nasty, gnarly hump right now.
Right. You're saving so much money.
Yo, as parents, there are 3 things you wait for. The drop for the formula, you get your money back. The drop in the diapers, you get your money back. But what I'm really waiting for right now, the diapers are almost there. I'm really waiting for that drop in childcare. We are going to be thousandaires when that is over.
Thousandaires. No, for sure. We got 2 more years.
Yeah.
We got 2 more years, but you know what? And then it'll just be a sadness, because I know when Alana started school, and now she comes home and she's reading and she's just like doing this stuff, and I'm just like, wow. And she'll be 6.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Listen.
No.
I've been in my feelings all week because
okay.
every day she wakes up and she's like, it's almost my birthday. Because she knows, she's like,
don't remind me.
Right. She's like, it's this day of the week. That means it's 4 more days to my birthday. It's 3 more days to my birthday. It's 2 more days till my birthday. But yeah, so... yeah, it's just, you enjoy the stage and then you grieve it because it's gone. And it happens so quick.
Yeah, it does, man. It does. I see Lito with a backpack on and I'm thinking, like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this. And that's actually a perfect segue. I might not be ready for him to grow up. You might not be ready for your girls to grow up.
So what are we ready for?
Ready for is for y'all to just subscribe to this channel.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so good, Vlad.
You might not be ready, but we might not be ready.
Prepare your life.
You're ready right now. If you're listening to this, to hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, smash it.
Yes.
And if you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, smash that. Well, I don't know what button's on there, but share this thing. And make it your favorite so you get notified when there's new episodes. Okay.
Do it.
So I want to jump into today's topic. Today we are talking everything divorce.
Life after divorce.
Life after divorce. Life during divorce. What precedes it? Why do people stay? Why do people finally leave? And what can you expect in a new normal afterwards? Right?
And I want to preface this. This is not like a special announcement. We are not getting divorced. But we are both the products of divorce.
Yep.
We're both the products of divorce. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of people in our not immediate circles, but still friends of ours, some besties of ours that are going through that process. And it's really sad, but sometimes I feel like it's also empowering because sometimes that is what's needed to move on for something that there's no saving at the end of the day.
Right. And that's true, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that's what's happening today.
That's what's happening today. All right. So I want to start off with a few statistics. Obviously, in talking about divorce, we can't talk about divorce without talking about marriage. As being two adults who were once children of divorce, you and I have had a front row seat to what that looks like, what the fallout is. But that was back in the 90s, and I don't know when your parents got divorced, the early 2000s. But what is going on today with marriage, particularly in the United States, in this country? So check this out. They say about 40 to 50% of first marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. And that likelihood of divorce climbs up as you get married a second and a third time. I believe it's somewhere around 70 to 73% of third marriages end in divorce, and 60 to 67% of second marriages end in divorce. So chances are, if you got divorced and you got remarried, but you're probably going to get divorced again.
That's so wild to me, right? Vlad, because you would think like, okay, I was married, I made some mistakes, I'm older now, I know what I like, what I don't like. This is going to stick. But it's like it's still not working out.
I think it doesn't work out for a lot of reasons, but mainly that people don't know what caused the divorce in the first place. And I think oftentimes you get divorced, and if your partner was nasty, then it's easy to think, well, I was just with the wrong person.
Yeah, now you get with the first nice person.
You get with the first nice person, but then you also realize, like, who was I that made this divorce possible as well? Or that made that who was I in this marriage that ended in divorce? Can I be that same person in my next marriage? And people often do.
Yeah.
Are the same people, or they have the same tactics, they have the same habits, they have the same tendencies, and don't properly heal. And marriage almost becomes a Band-Aid for their emotional pain. So it's almost like a redemption story, right? Shit, my first divorce didn't work out. My first marriage didn't work out. So now I got to make this one stick.
Yeah.
So you might see like one or two different things that look different than your partner. Oh, that's the one. It's not the case.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think too, people are different, right? So I think women, they have this thing where it's like they're going to give it their all, and they're like kind of working alone for a lot of it, right?
Right.
Maybe they suggested kind of like couples counseling, and the husband's kind of like hesitant. At least the people that I know, the husband's hesitant at first, then they try it, but then there's not a lot of truth in the therapy, because it's like they say one thing in therapy, but then outside it's another thing, because they didn't want to go to therapy in the first place.
Right.
And so then that just leads to resentment, and I feel like women leave mentally first before the man.
Always.
And then they're like, oh, this came out of nowhere, and it's like, did it though? Because she's been telling you this hurts her, or this bothers her for like 4 years, and then now magically you're getting divorced.
Do you believe that marriages can end out of nowhere, or is there always something preceding the end?
No, I think something's preceding the end. If for women, I think they leave a while before they settle on, you know what,
Sure.
this is the end. But I think for men, something has to happen too, and maybe not as far back as the woman, but something. I don't feel like you just wake up one day and you're like, I fell out of love. What made you fall out of love?
Right.
Who made you fall out of love?
Right.
Because it's usually infidelity too, right? Is tied in there somewhere. If it happens suddenly.
Yeah. Well, infidelity is one thing, and obviously there are a number of situations that precede infidelity. It's either the person just had a promiscuous nature, right? Maybe some unresolved stuff, or the person left mentally and was unsatisfied and didn't have a way out of the marriage, and maybe infidelity was the reason, right? But it's interesting to think about how often people get divorced. I think something of 54% of marriages fail. First marriages fail, right? And even just looking at this statistic, which is just straight up from the census, the average marriage that ends in divorce usually lasts about 8 years. And I've been
That's a long time.
8 years is a long time. Like my wife and I are going on 6 years this year, and I've been hearing something, and I need you to clarify for this for me, sis, if you've heard it. The 7-year itch.
I've heard of that.
Can you explain to me what that is? Because I've never heard of that before.
Oh, okay. So people say the 7-year itch is like you've been with someone 7 years and then you just get an itch where it's like, I need something different. There has to be better out there. Like little problems seem bigger now to you because it's like you're just getting like uneasy. Yeah, people say that. I don't think we went through that. I think 7.
You guys have been married for long.
It'll be 14 years. And
what?
I know.
Whoa, you've been married for 14
It'll be
years?
in February, in 2 months. It'll be 14 years.
Wow, we got to give them some. I always get the last one.
Womp, 14
You've been married
years.
for 14 years. Womp.
Boo, no.
Boo.
But yeah, so 14 years. So I'm trying to think back 7 years ago before we had Alana, whatever. I don't think that we were, thinking like, oh, this can't be.
7-year itch, huh?
Yeah. That's what I think. And I think because by 7 years, like, usually not all couples, but most couples by 7 years at least have one kid, maybe 2. So it's like the compounding responsibilities, trying to like still date each other, still do things together on top of like kids' responsibility, riding around, taking kids here, there, whatever. So maybe that too is a reason.
Well, a quick
yeah,
AI
Google that
overview
thing.
is the 7-year itch is a popular belief that happiness and satisfaction in long-term relationship, particularly a marriage, declines around the 7-year mark. And it suggests a period of restlessness, to your point, and dissatisfaction that can lead to conflicts, a feeling of disconnectedness, or even infidelity. So this has been around since 1952.
Yeah.
And I have never heard of this before.
Yeah.
Possibly because I don't know that married people. But what's interesting is, okay, I hear the 7-year itch thing. And it almost made it sound like when I read it the first time that it's guaranteed to happen. Long-term relationship or marriage. Julie and I have been together for going on 13 years. And we've been married for almost 6. And if anything, we hit our snag in the road at 3 years, not 7. But we weren't even living together at that point.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it the other day, and I think part of the reason why we're hedged against that in protection is that we hit that snag early on in our relationship before there was anything at stake. We weren't living together. We didn't have any property together. We didn't have any children together.
Revisit it. Not that I want this to happen to y'all, but revisit it when you've been married 7. Because is it dating or is it married?
It's dating or a long-term relationship.
Okay, okay. I didn't
so
know
that's
what
why
the
I
thing said.
understand, because marriage for some people means something completely different than others. Being together with someone for 7 years, does it only happen to people who are legally married?
Or living together. I think it's like proximity, right?
Proximity, yeah. So Julie and I have been living together. Let's see, we moved in. Yeah, we've been living together for 7 years.
Okay, so this is the year that you might get the itch, but you're not gonna.
I don't feel itchy. There's only 3 weeks left, and I listen. I got my gold bond right here. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel itchy. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Right. I mean, again, we didn't go through that, and I think it's because we didn't have like more stress on our marriage. Like we didn't have all those things. We didn't own a home at that time. Like there was a lot of things. It was kind of like just we were coasting. Everything was fun. We didn't have like added responsibilities. So maybe that's like, especially in the 50s, you're married 7 years, you probably have 7 kids at that point. Well, but people used to do that.
Nobody got married. Nobody got divorced in the 50s.
No, they stayed. And let's talk about why people stayed.
Well, that's actually a really good segue, right? Mm-hmm. Because something I want to ask you is, when we're talking about why people stay and why people leave and why marriages fail and all that, what are some of the myths, non-truths, that you were told about divorce and separation as a kid that you now realize, like, maybe that's not so true?
What do you mean about divorce itself?
About divorce itself. Right?
Oh, that you shouldn't get divorced. You know, you decided to get married, and especially like my mom grew up Catholic, then we became Christian, not denominational, in like my late elementary, early middle school. You do it in front of God, so it's like you can't. That's like you're breaking a covenant. Right.
It is,
you know, and it's really that deep, right? So I think that's like one of the myths. But even in the Bible, don't quote me, I'm not a theologian, but there's something like God gives you reasons for divorce, and I think infidelity is one of the reasons why. And I think now that people are more independent as far as like women can work, because, you know, back then women didn't work, so it was a lot of financial abuse. I feel like it happens now too, because you have moms that decide to stay home, they're not working, so they stay. Why do they stay? For the kids. Number one reason is for the kids. But you know what, kids would rather see you happy than married. You know,
I don't think there's some people that are going to be listening to this that do not agree with you, and
that's okay. You don't have to agree with me, but honestly, as someone that lived through my parents' divorce, they should have divorced a long time before they did. And by the time that they did, I was already old enough to understand a lot, and I wish I would have done it sooner, because I would have seen my mom happier longer.
Well, so let me ask you this: as a child, what signs, if any, did you see that you could probably broadcast your parents' divorce ahead of time? Like, did you see it coming, or did it come out of nowhere?
No. I definitely saw it coming, because, again, I feel like my mom was planning this for years, but she couldn't do it right away because she was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. She didn't start working till, there's 6 of us, until the last kid started school.
Oh, wow.
Because she wanted to be home with us when we were home from school. And then even then, she got a job at the school so she can be home with us even after school.
Oh, wow.
You know, because my mom was put on this earth to be a mom.
Right.
Like, listen, I didn't have any canned vegetables until I was old, because my mom made everything. She made everything. We'd wait for the bus in Florida cold weather. What is
that, 55?
60. And we'd have hot chocolate at the bus stop. Like, we'd have hot breakfast. Like, we weren't eating cereal. We used to eat cereal at night as a snack. For breakfast, always hot breakfast.
Wait, time out. I just need to call time out real quick. Y'all were making hot cocoa at 55 degrees?
My mom, okay? She was the Mary Poppins of mothers, okay?
You know, in Massachusetts,
Mama pura.
If it's 55 degrees,
people are outside in shorts, running outside.
Yeah.
Drinking lemonade. Yeah.
Or in thongs. People surfing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a nudist beach.
But right. So it's like, so she was there doing all this. I forgot why I just said all this. But she was there doing all that because she was just made to be a mom. But anyway, so she did all that so she could be home with us or whatever. So I feel like she was planning on this divorce forever, but she needed to get to the place that she was able to leave because she wasn't working for so many years.
Right. So, you know? economic dependence.
I think that's number 2. First is you stay for the kids, and 2, you stay because financially you can't afford to leave. And in these cases, these days, now the men can't afford to leave.
Nobody can afford to leave. You can't afford to leave. You can't afford to buy a house. You can't afford to eat.
Buy them out.
You can't afford nothing, man.
Yeah.
And we were talking to your friend earlier. Mm-hmm. And she said something that was really important, that it may also be controversial, which is marriage is a business. Mm-hmm. And call it a business, call it an institution, an enterprise, if you will. But I am in agreement with that because of the way that marriage laws work in the United States. But also, it is just, somebody told me a long time ago that one of the most important consequential decisions you'll make in your life is who you choose to procreate with.
Facts.
And that can undermine that if it's not a right fit for you, that could undermine any foundational promise that you had as a couple if you can't co-parent with this person properly. And marriage itself, because it's split down the middle, it is an enterprise. Like, look, before folks could get married, before black folks could get married, one of the reasons why it was such a big deal was because it's an enterprise. There are legal financial benefits to being married. Put you into a different tax code, right? But I think one of your reasons, the children, is why a lot of people stay. You know, thinking back to my parents separated when I was 10, and if I would have asked myself at 8 years old, Vlad, do you think your parents are going to get divorced? I'd be like, hell no, my family's going to stay together. I wanted my family to stay together, even though our house was awful with my parents together. But I knew things were in motion. I'll never forget, there was this one time because my mom is very sensitive to stress. Like when I was a kid, I remember she had her left arm, was it her right arm? One of her arms was all like just black dots. Look like scars. And I'm like, yo, what happened to you? Got in a fight with a porcupine or something? Yeah. And she said, no, these are all like bursted blood vessels that happened around the time that you were born. I was so stressed out. Like I would just break out everywhere.
Yeah, like hives?
Yeah, pretty much. Like stress hives, I suppose. And so the stress of being in this home was obviously getting to my mom. And one of those times, she ended up going to the hospital. She had a really bad stomach ache. And as you know, you can have an ulcer from stress. Yeah. And I remember being in the hospital with her, me and my brother, and the nurse came and was asking questions, and I think she asked something about, you know, what is it like living at home? Is it safe? My mom said, I don't know, but I'm leaving soon. And when she said that to me, when she said that to the nurse, my heart sank, because I was like, what? You didn't tell me you were leaving soon. Although, again, hindsight is 20/20. I was only 9 or 10 years old, but looking at it now, duh. Like, what in the world makes you think your mother wants to stay here? Right. I don't remember seeing my mom packing anything, but she was. We've moved. You've moved. You know how much packing is involved in moving, especially when you're packing for kids. Yep. And like I said, classic story, my mom escaped in the middle of a work day. My dad came home to find
my mom too.
To do that. For real?
Yeah. So I was already in college, but she packed up the house, and he was in DR on business, and then he came home and the house was empty.
And you don't think he saw that coming?
No, he was just like, what's going on?
Oh, wow. You never told me that.
Yeah.
So what was the fallout? I know you mentioned the chickens, right?
Oh, no, well, that was when he finally found out because she bought a house, and that's when he finally found out where the house was. My sister told him because she missed him or whatever. Makes sense. But for a long time, he didn't know where she was living at.
How long are we talking?
I don't even know. Not too long, but long enough. Yeah, maybe a few months.
Did he want to know where you were living, or was
for sure, but it wasn't like because he wanted to hang out. I feel like it was more of a control thing, because that was like a main reason too why they got divorced. He was like trying to control her. He's like, oh, why do you want to go get a job? Why do you need your own money?
It's so fascinating because that's exactly what happened. My mom told me that she wanted to work. Now we grew up with my dad's sibling and his mother, my grandmother next door.
House, yep.
And she'd asked one of my aunts, like, "Hey, I'm taking this certification exam to become a nurse or a nurse's assistant. Could you watch Vlad for a bit while I do that? Maybe watch him and Serge." And they're like, "I ain't doing that. Who told you need to work?"
And it's like, right now you're asking your dad. No, she's asking your dad, like, oh, can you please watch the kids? Like, these are your kids. I should just tell you I'm doing this. But that's the control piece, Vlad. It's like, why should I watch? Like, that's your job. You're not working. I got to go to work. You know?
Yeah. And when you control the finances, you control the home. And so that second point, the economic dependence, there are people, man or woman, it happens now, and it can happen to anyone of any different culture, of any gender, any sexuality. There are so many pieces of coercive control that we could talk to, but economic control is one of those big ones. Financial abuse is one of those big ones, right? Because you sabotage a person's independence, you will sabotage their ability to not only recognize the abuse but escape from it. And one of the reasons why my mom took so long to leave was because she was tied up in some stuff that she didn't know she was tied up in. And what I mean by that is, my mom tells a classic story about how my dad did something to my brother. He just, like, I don't know what it was. about my brother that my dad just hated. I think it was personally. I think it was seeing his image. I was his firstborn son.
Yeah,
freaked him the fuck out. Right.
Yeah, that he didn't know how to handle your brother. Well, back then he wasn't diagnosed, but he knew that he was different.
Yeah,
and he didn't know how to handle that too. You know, it was like a lot of layers.
Yeah, and I think he knew he was different, like him. And he wasn't settled with that.
Because you know what, people think that like autism and ADHD and ADD is like this new phenomenon when your uncle only eats steak and potatoes and he has a rock collection. Like,
or your uncle with the train set.
Right. Or your uncle that goes outside and has no family ties. He's like, oh, he's just a little different.
Or that uncle or cousin or whomever that's a little socially awkward.
Right. It runs in the family, bro. It's been here forever. You're just undiagnosed.
And I saw a statistic that said that, I'm going to find it because I don't want to say it without properly knowing, but autism actually, that's a paternal gene. So I got to figure that out. But hold on, I'm going to find it. Yes. All right. So check this out. So while both parents can contribute genes, studies indicate that siblings with autism may share more of their father's DNA, with one analysis suggesting around 66% compared to 30% from the mother.
Yeah.
So neurodiversity, it's like the chicken and the egg, right? If you have somebody who has inherited neurodiversity from a parent, but they've also been raised in trauma, is it the trauma that makes them different, or is it the neurodiversity? Can neurodiversity be caused by trauma? That's something we'll discuss and explore in another episode with a trauma expert. But to that point, I think that's why my dad couldn't connect to my brother. But anyway, my mom was crying at church, pleading at the altar, like, I don't even know what to do, with surge in her hand. I think she was pregnant with, oh no, I think she was with me. I don't even know where I was. I don't know where people were, but my mom was at church. Nun found her and said, my child was wrong. Yeah. Aww. And so this nun puts my mom into contact with some law students that can help her get out of this situation, find resources so that she can get on her feet. Right. And when my mom started really trying hard, she's like, okay, I have this plan. The most viable plan is for us to get into the housing projects. I stay there for a few years while I rack my money up, and then we can buy a house. Yeah. I'm trying to get away from this man. And so it was this plan to systematically get further and further away from my father. And what made it, and what the breakthrough was that my mom was astounded, Angie, because the lawyer was like, why are you trying to get into the housing projects when you own property? And she's like, what are you talking about? Own property? What property? What are you talking about? Right. She's like, well, your name was found on this loan right here for this house in Brockton. So I don't know if I ever told you this. No. My uncle, somebody in my dad's family, so my uncle was buying a house. And when my uncle bought the house, I think he was trying to refinance or get a quick loan or something. So everybody in Haitian, almost everybody in Haitian culture, any woman is named Marie something. Right. Or Maria, Marie. Yeah. Right? So paternal aunt, my dad's sister, her name was on the loan, but with my mother's social security number. Now, I don't know if that was done to insulate them. I don't know if that was done to isolate her, but that's why she couldn't get out. She couldn't qualify for housing because of that reason. Wow. It's fraud. It's like
literally what it is.
This is not like some little stuff. And when he asked, do you want to press charges? Like, no, I just want to leave. I just want to get away from this dude. And so I don't know how she figured that out, but she did. Wow. But that is the lengths that people will go if they're determined to control you and everything else around them. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people stay, is that when you give up that much control to somebody. In my mother's case, she was an immigrant. She didn't speak the language. She was still learning English. There were a lot of things that were just kind of above her pay grade. But if you're in a relationship where somebody is starting to ask you that, hey, can you just spend more time over here? Maybe don't go to your family. Spend more time over here. You don't need to spend your time with friends. I'm your friend. And then you live together. You don't need to work. I'll work for you.
Well, that's where the brainwashing starts, Vlad. It's like isolation. And it's like you only see that perspective. And it's like they're literally breaking you down and then cutting all those other ties that you have. So it's like you're only dependent on that person. And it's like they own you.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. It's like that ultimate control. Now it's like, I'm tracking you on the cell phone. I'm getting you a cell phone. So it's like, I know where everything's at. You know, like you can only use this. Like, you know, so that's where it starts. It's like, oh, who texts you? Let's text them back together. You know, so it's like that control, right? So yeah, so that was like a big reason. My mom was like, why are you trying to control me, right? So it's like slowly she got out of that. But yeah, and I think she was also hurt that we weren't like a family unit anymore, because she comes from like this huge family that did stay together. But my grandparents should have also gotten divorced, because my grandpa had these kids outside of my grandma, and as much as we love my grandpa, God rest his soul, we know that he was out here. We know he was. But they stayed together. Oh my gosh.
You know, I found out last year that my grandfather, my dad's dad, who he never talks about, he had another family too. And that brother was around, because my dad's one of 7, and he's around the same age as some of the eldest siblings. But to my knowledge, that's the only other child that he's had. My grandfather on my mom's side, my maternal grandfather, same thing. He's got other sisters. At first, my mom was like, well, that was before my mom and my dad got together. But I'm like, but mom, you're not the oldest sibling, and you and your half sisters are the same age.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get the math straight for a minute. But that's obviously, we talk about the fallout of divorce and just extramarital affairs and all that other stuff. How it impacts the kids and their identity is different, because you can't help but felt unchosen in a way. Like you couldn't even just get your nuts together in a pile just to focus on me and this family, right? Another reason why people leave, right, or why people stay so long is self-esteem. Because you talked about it. Let's think about it. Somebody breaks you down so far. They break down like, you're not good with money. Let me control you. Let me make sure that I control the money so that you don't have to worry about that. You're not really good with relationships. Let me choose the relationships for you.
Yeah, you don't see what I see.
You don't see what I see. I'm doing this because I love you.
Right.
Right. And so that you take that away, right? We're raising children. And at every opportunity we can, we're trying to empower our son. We're trying to empower the girls to make their own decisions based on the world that they see.
Right.
And so, you know, if you keep telling somebody like, hey, man, you just ain't that deep, let me do it for you, then you create this emotional codependency on so many levels with a person. If they want to leave, how can they?
How can they?
How are they going to survive without you?
All my money, the little bit I got, is tied to this person. You know, they're right. Like, I can't do this. You're right. My family's not there for me, even though they've been trying. But, you know, so it's like they put you in this silo where you think that you can't go anywhere else. And it's very unfortunate, but we see it happen a lot. But that control can happen at any point in time, right? I feel like the financial one happens now, but it happened so much in the past because women weren't allowed to have, like, women just were able to get a credit card, in the 60s or something?
Yeah, I think it was later than that.
My mom was alive at that point, is what I'm saying. It wasn't that long ago.
Right.
You know, so it's like now, outside of like maybe some financial, maybe some guilt because you want the kids to come from a 2-parent household, I feel like the emotional labor and just like the labor of the house gets put on women, even though both parties are working. Like, we need to be able to work like we don't have a family and have a family like we don't work. Like, those are the expectations. And I know that men don't feel the same way, because no one, if I go somewhere and people are like, oh, where are the girls? No one asks Wallace where the girls are. They just assume that they're with me, you know? And it's that double standard, and it's just society. I don't think it's like something that it's the patriarchy that we're perpetuating, but it's what it is, right? It's like, oh, you're working. Who's taking care of the girls?
Yeah, and I mean, let's call a spade. The patriarchy makes it so that men are off the hook.
Yeah,
that's not to say that's not to say that most men operate that way.
No,
but that's
and
how
I
most
know.
men are taught to operate. And
not all men, obviously, but all men.
Julie always makes a funny comment, because whenever we go to, like, we went to Trader Joe's one time, and I was pushing the cart with Lito in it, and all these older women were like, "Oh my God, he's so cute! Oh my God!" And she's like, "I don't ever say that when I'm pushing."
Right? They're like, "You're such a good dad." Prime example, Vlad. Now you know I'm single parenting out here with the girls a lot of the time. Wallace travels for work. Wallace
parenting apart.
Thank you. We're parenting apart. So I'm there. I'm doing the thing. Wallace also does the thing. I'm not negating Wallace is great when he's by himself. Right. Thing, yeah. But what happens, I go on a work trip. Tell me why people are like, oh, Wallace, I just wanted to drop off a pizza because I know you're by yourself with the girls. Ooh. Oh, Wallace, our friends. Our neighbor.
Didn't nobody get me no pizza.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody brings me a pizza. Y'all know if the bus ain't there, that means Wallace is gone. Ain't nobody like, oh, Angie, here's a casserole. Because I know.
Do people make casseroles in 2025?
My neighbor makes casseroles.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so it's like, oh, I know, Wallace, you're here by yourself, you know, because we're very open with our neighbors. Like, oh, Angie's going to leave or Wallace is gone or whatever. You know, we share on our street. But yeah, it's like, oh, Wallace, I know you're home by yourself with the girls. Here's a casserole. Well, yeah. You know, and it's like because they think he can't because we're just conditioned to think men are incompetent. And I feel like some men use that to their advantage, weaponized incompetence. So it's like, oh, well, you're just better at that than me. And it's like the domestic labor of the home. You know, and that also leads to divorce.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know the statistic off the top of my head, but
it's big.
But a conversation, right? A conversation that I hear women discussing online and even within our groups is that they feel like they have to be a parent to their partner and to their children.
The third or fourth kid that you have.
Which I don't understand because
me neither.
My mother raised me to be so independent. My mom, let's put it that. My mom never got remarried.
Yeah.
And she never redated.
You were her other husband.
Yeah, right.
She was parenting you, other husband.
And she was, exactly. And all the while, she was training me to prepare for divorce in the case that it happened.
Yeah.
But she was, let's keep it a stack. She was just being like, somebody's going to leave you someday and you got to be able to cook, feed and cook and do all that other stuff. But most men don't have that expectation culturally. They'd be like, oh, why ain't your wife having you a home cooked meal when you get home? Well, I'm like, why can't you cook your own damn meal?
Well, you know what's funny too, Vlad? I was literally with my work friends yesterday and we were having this conversation how I feel like it might just be Caribbean moms. That's the only real moms that I know like personally like that to bring this information from. But it's like when they have daughters, Caribbean women have daughters, they raise them to be wives later on. So it's like you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's like the first day that you cook a meal by yourself, it's like, oh, you're ready to get married. That's like a saying, right? It's so wild, bizarre. But anyway, it's like, oh, you're preparing the girls to be wives, but they do not prepare the boys to be husbands.
No, not husbands.
No.
They don't prepare them to be providers.
But nothing in the house though.
Well, nothing in the house, yes, but also nothing emotionally
either. Yes,
I think
correct.
That weaponized incompetence also goes to emotion, also leads to emotional intelligence and incompetence because a lot of men will be like, well, why you want me to talk about my feelings? I'm working.
But that's the thing. It's like, oh, you have to be strong. You have to work. Be a provider to your point.
Right.
But then it's like everything else you negate. So it's like now I work, so I have to be a provider too, and I have to do everything in this house because I have to be a good wife, how I was taught because Caribbean mom. And I also have to do all the emotional labor at the house because you're emotionally weak. Again, not Wallace because he's the best.
Well, I think a lot of people will think about people getting divorced and automatically attribute, there was a mismatch, there was an unmet need, an imbalance when it came to the household chores and the responsibilities.
Oh, that too, yeah.
And I think if you're human, you're susceptible. I think society makes certain scenarios more predictable or acceptable. But if you're a human, whether you're a female or a male, look, we would not have, DCF would not be so busy and overburdened if mothers always had it together or fathers always had it together. If you're not well, you won't parent well. It's just that simple. And a lot of people get into relationships, marriages, talk about that 7-year itch. I have nothing to itch for because I've dated before. I've dated around. I know what's waiting for me out there, and I don't want it. I got everything I need in my wife. I got everything I want in my wife. And actually, I think that's something else to talk about too, real quick, is that people often, I've heard, divorce because, we're just not the same people, or we grew apart. Okay. Everybody changes when they get married.
You're not right.
Over time.
We're not married to the people we married.
We're not.
You're supposed right. People. You have to evolve.
Yeah.
But the whole point is evolving together and having those conversations. And you said something earlier, Vlad, about the expectations in the home and stuff. And you have to. People think that they're giving more or less, and that's perfectly fine too. There are days when I only have 20% to give.
Right.
And Wallace will pick up the slack on the 80%. And I feel like we're so in sync that even without me saying it, he could just tell, and he just picks up the slack.
Yeah, like it's just a natural order.
Yes.
Right?
And there's days when he has 10% and I have to give the 90, or we're more equal, or you know what I mean? Or we both are at 100. We're like, wow, look at all the things we did today. Right. But it's like not like being able to communicate, or you being in tune with your person to know like, oh, they're either not feeling well, they're going through this, like work is doing this, you know, their family situation, whatever. So it's like you pick up on those things and then you kind of improvise in the moment. Because there's also like expectations. Like Wallace knows if he's home, I ain't washing no dishes. Right? Like that's also there. And Wallace also doesn't boil water. So I don't expect, like, you have to have realistic expectations. Like if you're not married to someone that is comfortable cooking, don't expect them to make you a gourmet meal. Now you're setting up yourself for failure because you're expecting something that you know you're not going to get.
Whoa. Which brings us to something that pisses me off personally.
Okay.
Is when somebody's like, well, I'm just going to get a divorce, or I'm just going to think about separating from this person because I tried to give them a chance so many years. Like this person, like they don't ever help out with the kids. They never help around the house, and they don't want to do chores, and they don't want to give up their NBA and ESPN, or they don't want to give up their...
Oh, like, okay, I got you.
And I'm just like, but you knew that.
Well, knew that, or was there any like kind of plan set up? Because people don't know what they don't know. If you're really having those conversations and you're like, this is important to me, blah, blah, blah. If that person really is not changing, like what can we do to get them there if they're willing to change?
And marriage is not going to be the thing to make somebody change.
No. Because
all it is let's face facts. The typical marriage, the typical wedding isn't done for the couple. It's done for everybody else. Like the typical wedding is not done for a husband and wife. It's done for everybody else. So everybody else feels happy and satiated. You can say, everybody, look at us. We're getting married. 54% of people ended up getting divorced after their first marriage. And look at, you had a $50,000 wedding. What was it for? Right?
Yeah. What does Maya Angelou say? When someone shows you who they are,
believe them.
Believe them.
Marriage is not going to fix anything.
No.
That is
and I feel like
broken.
And I feel like men are simple creatures, Vlad. No disrespect.
No, we are.
But I feel like you get what you get. You get what you get. If someone is telling you this is who I am, that's who they're going to be.
Yeah. And the only way I could see things changing is if that man is
doing the work.
Dedicated to doing the work.
Yes.
He's got plans to do the work.
Yes.
For example,
But don't marry. I wouldn't marry for potential.
No. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said that.
I'm not, because you know what? I am not a construction worker and I don't need a project. Like,
yeah, I'm so happy you mentioned that because so many people marry on
potential.
Yes,
he could do it.
It
like,
kills me.
So again, Wallace and I got married so young. Wallace didn't have no car, he had no money, but we were both young, right? I knew that Wallace didn't have those things because he was young.
Right.
There was nothing in my life that told me Wallace couldn't get those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if Wallace needed to work on something like, let's say, he had trauma and he needed to work on it. Like, if he's not taking those steps already, like if he wasn't already in therapy, why would I try to get with him to mold him into someone I want him to be if he's not even almost there?
Right.
And especially if, like, again, if I wasn't with Wallace and I was in my big age right now, I couldn't take on a real project. Well,
and I don't think that...
It's not fair.
No, and I don't think that you should be taking on people as projects, right? If you have a standard for somebody just to treat you nice, we used to have some friends, and one time we were years ago, Julie and I, we were celebrating Christmas, and we're like, what do you want your partner to get for you? And she was like, well, I just want my boyfriend to treat me nice. I just want him to talk to me nicely.
The bare minimum.
And I'm just like, maybe for Christmas you should get like a dating website subscription,
right?
Because I'm like,
yikes!
For you to have to ask, can you treat me nicely, please? Can you respectfully speak to me?
How does the gas station attendant treat you nicer than your boyfriend?
What did I say? Yes. What did I say earlier? Somebody's like, well, why do you love this person? Why are you getting married? What is the foundation for you thinking that this enterprise is going to take off and sustain itself? And when people are like, oh, well, she's just so nice. I'm like, who cares? Walmart greeters are nice.
Right.
Are you going to marry a Walmart greeter? Are you going to marry the Subway person who makes your Subway sandwich? Like, look, being nice and decent is just a human trait that most, if not all people should have. And if you don't have it, then work on it. But for God's sakes, don't marry somebody thinking that the marriage, the institution, the commitment, the ink is going to make somebody become somebody they're not, because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen for my mom. It didn't happen for your mother. It doesn't happen for the 54% of people that get divorced. And I'd like to think, because I used to be so paranoid, because I used to think, Angie, I want to get married and have a family, but what if it ends?
Yeah,
because
it's so
nothing around me says
scary.
that. I'm only one. Now, like, look, my mother and my father divorced. My uncle is divorced. My other uncle is divorced.
Yeah.
The only people that are married, there's only, across both of my families, there's like 3 or 4 marriages and like I don't know how many families. It was me, my uncle, my cousin, and my cousin in Haiti. But outside of relationships I know, there's only those 3.
Yeah.
3. And I was like, what evidence do I have that this is going to work out? And so I used to think to myself, no matter how solid Julie and I are, there's going to be something that makes us come to an end. I just know it because look at what's going around.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until recently, when I say recently, within the last 5 or 6 years or so, that I realized, I'm like, the potential for this marriage is what I put into it. And if there's no work being put in, if there's no input, if I just kick my feet back and think I'm just going to invest in this marriage passively
and no work,
and get some 8% returns like you do with your stocks, you gonna get no returns. And so, I think marriage is what you make of it, but it isn't an end all be all. It is not a tool to empower somebody to treat you nicely or to actually get to know who you are. If somebody's not interested in you now, marriage is not going to make them
No, and I think, like, to your point, it's the actions behind it, right? Because we can think a lot like, oh, I think that they'll change, or, oh, I think that they're doing the right steps. But until that is put into action and it's like they're moving in that direction, like they're actually taking those steps and doing whatever the things are that they need to improve, don't expect that until like the actions are there,
right? So let's talk about, as we wrap up, I want us to talk about what life after divorce looks like, right? Because we both lived and live in the aftermath of divorce. I was a child. I don't remember how old you said.
Oh, I was 18. I was
okay.
grown. I was a grown up.
You were grown up.
But I was a baby grown up.
You were still a baby grown up. You know what I mean? 18 years old.
I'm always my mama's baby still.
Yeah. So what is life? What can you expect with life after divorce and separation? And what can you do to give yourself a fighting chance to not be one of the 60 or to 66% of second chance divorcees or the 70 to 73%?
But you know what? I'm very interested in those stats, like going deeper into those stats, Vlad, because I feel like when women get divorced, they already have a community and they that people rally around them. And it's like they have that glow up, like that divorce glow up. They lose the 150-pound man and it's like, wow, new person. So I think like the woman's life improves. But I think for men, since a lot of men don't have that community, they don't really have like deep relationships, like we were saying, how, you have your circle, but men don't really have that because they don't express themselves. Like not a lot of men do that. I think those men remarry. And the divorced man is a woman's first marriage, like the woman they get with. So I'm interested to see if the statistics are for both people's second marriages, if that makes sense.
If I'm hearing you correctly, I think you're wondering how much of the second
marriages both people are the divorcees,
right? Whether it's
because I think a lot of women don't get remarried. Like I think some do. Obviously, we've seen it. We have friends that do, but I'd be interested to see those numbers because like life after divorce, I think is very flourishing and wonderful for women, but for the men, because the woman was again having that whole mental load, holding the house together, doing all these things, the men need to rush into another relationship because that's all they know and they need someone to do for them.
Well, I think that. And again, this is just like we're talking about the typical situation where the man is just an adult child and the wife has to. I mean, I would like to think that maybe those marriages fail because of information not being utilized, right? Like you will always fail over and over again and be insane for doing so if you just keep making the same decisions, seeing the same type of people, being in the same type of relationships, having the same dynamics, right? Maybe we could look more into those at another time. But I mean, for what I see, remarriage rates consistently show that men are more likely to remarry than women.
I knew that.
And the reasons for this disparity are complex and can include factors related to social and economic differences, right? And there's mixed data on this. So from what I find, it seems like it's inconclusive exactly why.
Well, because men's mental health and their physical health improves when they're married, and women's goes down when they get married.
Right.
You know, and we had an episode about that a few episodes back. And I think it's because when women are married, they focus more on like the family and the marriage versus themselves. And men still think they're singular creatures out here and still do for themselves, except in the community aspect. Because again, women have the community they rally around. Life after divorce, I feel for women. And I'll talk about the women part of it. I feel like at first it hurts because I have a few friends that are divorced, and the first couple of months when they had to share custody, they were like, it was painful for them because like I don't have my kids, and that's all like they're used to. But now they're flourishing because now they can pursue like other interests. They have like 2 or 3 days a week where it's just them. So they have like that open time. They can do things that they want. They can go, again, start a business. They can go, you know what I mean? Like do whatever they want when it's like days that they didn't have before.
Right.
So it's like life or divorce for them is great.
Yeah. And statistics show, though, too, that people who are divorced are 23% more likely to experience depressive symptoms, which is obvious. Like you're doing something that has been an institution in your life for so long. Women are at a higher risk, actually, of being depressive after divorce because, like you said, women leave before they leave. Mentally, they leave before they actually leave the legal marriage. And so when we're thinking about life after, you know, one of the questions I always had was, why don't my parents date? Would I have wanted my parents to date after breaking up? Sometimes I've said no. Other times I've said yes, and I think I've said no because in my ideal mind as a child, I just wanted my parents to be together, and I wanted them to work their stuff out. But if that's not possible, then what else is possible? As an adult, it did my parents a great disservice, I believe, not to even put themselves out there again. My mom's told me straight up, I don't ever want to go through that heartache again, so I'm just not going to try. And that's out of fear. My father, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you why he's never remarried. I could, from his life, I could tell you, I'm not a woman, but I would not want to be married to my father.
Yeah.
And I love my mom, but as is, I would not want to be married to my mom either because they're both very hurt people. And you're going to bring that, I would rather you just stay alone than to make somebody else's life, another situation, potentially more children, at an effect to whatever it is that you haven't worked out. And they show that kids who were introduced and exposed to chronic stress, conflict in the home are massively more susceptible to developing depression, anxiety, and things later on in life. I'm a beacon for that. And when I think about all the years that I watched my parents argue and fight and throw things, and it was so unhealthy for the both of them, for us as children, as a family unit. And I came to realize that, you know, once they divorced, that conflict was still there. Maybe not with each other, but like they can find conflicts everywhere else. So sometimes that experience in marriage, if it's that toxic, may set up other times. But I do believe that there is so many great things that can happen as a result of divorce, because nobody wants to get divorced. Let's face
exactly. No.
But
But
that's exactly what you need.
No, that's exactly what you need, especially if you've given it your all and nothing is moving, the needle isn't turning, whatever the saying is. It's like, what else is there? Are you just going to live the rest of your life miserable, tied to a person that doesn't want to grow with you, doesn't want to improve, doesn't want to like level up? That's not fair either. No. And life is short, but life is also long.
Life is short.
To be to be stuck.
Short. Life can be short when you're having fun. Time will fly. But when you're not and you're miserable, life is long it's like watching paint dry.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know if I saw the glow up in my mom that one would expect, but who she was with my dad and who she is apart from him are completely different stories. And I'd like to encourage somebody who's listening to this, if you're listening to this right now and you're a divorcee or you're on your way there or you're contemplating it or you're petrified of it, and you're asking yourself, what is a reason to stay? What is a reason to leave? You have to be honest with yourself and make the best use of the data that you see.
Yeah.
And remember that once you get out of it, there is another side of divorce and separation.
Yep.
But your identity is something that you're going to have to rebuild. And I think, to answer your question from earlier, a reason why many people are the higher rates of marriage and of divorce, rather, as you get into the second and third marriages, is because people don't take the time to do the work and reestablish their identity, because who you were with him or her cannot be who you are with this person. Whether you were a victim or you were an aggressor, you cannot be the same person and expect a different result. Marriage is beautiful when it is done right. It is a nightmare when it is done wrong. And what do we mean by wrong? This will just be my final thought. If you're marrying on potential, if you're hoping that it'll work out, and if you don't have any standards for your partner, right, Angie, other than them being a solid wife
or being nice
or being hardworking, you need to find somebody that respects you, that loves you, that is willing to grow with you and stay connected as you grow. Because when people grow apart, it's not because suddenly I want to go skiing and Julie wants to go bungee jumping. It's because maybe I started talking about skiing, but I wasn't connected to Julie when she started talking about bungee jumping, whatever it is. People grow apart because they're disconnected and focusing on the family, on the kids, but the unit is strengthened by the marriage. So I said this before, I'm saying it again, and I hope everybody hears me. You cannot be a good husband and a bad father. Yeah. You cannot be a good father and a bad husband. They're one, and vice versa. Wife, they go hand in hand. So before you decide to put yourself into a marriage or out of a marriage, be committed to the work that's going to be necessary for you to make a different experience out of your next venture. That's all I got. What do you got?
I like that. First of all, no notes for what you said. And I read somewhere something like that you have to love a person's roots before you love their flowers. You know?
It ties right into roots and rhythm.
It does, roots and rhythm, baby. But yeah, so it's like you have to love a person from within and like to their core, because again, changes are going to come. Flowers, one day, it's winter. Them things dead in the winter, Vlad. Right. You know? And it's like they're growing. Now it looks a little weird, but it's like you have to love the fruits to love the flowers in every season, because they're going to change. And if you love the foundation, you have that foundation, anything can last. But you have to do the work on yourself to do it together.
Yeah. And that myth that, you have to be happy all the time in marriage is just not true. There are going to be times where you're not happy. Not necessarily with the person, but just with the circumstance. There will be times you're going to be blissful. But it's, do you have enough to push through each time? Right? So
beautiful.
That's all we got. Listen, if you guys love this, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. We're trying to get this thing up and going.
Share, baby.
So do your thing. And if you got something to say about this episode, we want to hear from you. And we are still launching and inviting those. If you want to be on the Roots and Rhythm podcast and you want to get some live coaching, go ahead and get it with us.
Please.
It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach.
And Angie, let's have it more.
We are out of here. Stay rooted.